What's up, nerds and geeks? My name is OMG, WTF, LOLFTWBRB, and welcome to another edition of the Sunday Vlog. I guess technically this can be considered the Monday because it is technically Monday right now, but either way, let's get right to it. I want to cover one thing first before we get into the vlog. I'm not going to be covering Fastlane in this video. I actually am going to be doing a separate vlog covering Fastlane a little bit more in detail in the script instead of just kind of talking about it, because I'm going to be changing things up on the vlog. I don't want to keep running on about some wrestling things. I just kind of want to get straight to the point on some of them. So I'm going to be uploading something different for Fastlane. And also, as of the recording of this, I haven't finished watching Fastlane. I was watching it with Johnny, and Johnny went to bed, so I'm waiting for him to actually get back up, and we're going to continue watching it. So the first thing I want to talk about on the Sunday vlog is kind of what I hinted to from the last Sunday vlog. I talked a little bit about how I was going to be covering New Japan Pro Wrestling's new beginning in Sendai. I know how I did Osaka last week, and I'm going to be doing Sendai this week, so without further ado, let's just jump right to it. I'm just going to be giving you the results of the matches that I personally enjoyed. I think there was only a couple of matches, like maybe two, I didn't really care for. Actually, no, I think I actually wrote them all down for this one, so never mind. So, Captain New Japan and Manabu Nanakashi, I apologize again if I pronounce any of these names wrong, defeated Satoshi Kojima and Yohei Kamatsu, I don't know. Red Dragon defeated Jay White and Tiger Mask. The Time Splitters and Mascara Dorada defeated the Bullet Club. It was Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. So it seems like they're still going to be continuing the Time Splitters Young Bucks rivalry, and Mascara Dorada is going to be getting a title shot against Kenny Omega, who just might be my favorite wrestler in New Japan. Jushin Thunder Liger retained his NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship over Chase Owens, and Hiroshi Tenzan defeated Rob Conway to become the new NWA World Champion. That one kind of caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting New Japan Pro Wrestling to have a title change from a different company. I actually think that's pretty amazing, and I think it would be even cool if we saw other companies like ROH, for instance, have title changes over there. But Hiroshi Tenzan defeated Rob Conway. Kota Ibushi and Tetsuo Naoto defeated Kazuki Sakuraba and Toru Yano. That was a pretty good match. I enjoy Toru Yano and I enjoy all four of them, actually. Chaos, which is better known as Kazuki Okada and Yoshihashi. Everyone loves Okada, trust me. They defeated the Bullet Club, which was Bad Luck Fail, and Yujiro, Takahashi. I hope I pronounced that right. Hiroki Goto, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Katsuru Shibata defeated the Bullet Club, which was Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson, and Tama Tonga, with AJ Styles, just winning the title and not being there for the event. Tama Tonga, of course, took the place of AJ because it seems like Tanahashi and AJ are going to be continuing their feud over the IWGP World title, and we still got Hiroki Goto and Katsuri Shibata taking on Gallows and Carl Anderson for the IWGP World Tag titles. The vacant Never Openweight Championship was decided. Here we go. Tomohiro, thank you, I always get that one wrong. Tomohiro Ishii defeated Tomoaki Hanma. It kind of sucks. I was rooting for Hanma, really, because he's such an underdog, and the New Japan fans love him. He's bought me over. I love him, but from what I understand, he always loses. So I like Ishii as well. So I'm interested to see what's up with the Never Openweight. I'm not sure if that's a New Japan title. If anyone would like to let me know on that or fill me in, that'd be cool. And we had the IWGP Intercontinental Championship up for grabs, and Shinzuku Nakamura, oh my lord, retained over Yuji Nagata. That was a pretty good match, but I would say the best match of the night had to be Tomohiro Ishii and Hanma, because they just blew me away with that match. So some other things I'd like to talk about this week that I found some pretty interesting was John Cena may or may not be getting his own reality TV show. I read online that there's a little bit of a tension between him and WWE, I guess, or a little bit of disagreements. John Cena's been working with, I think it was Sinclair Broadcasting. Don't quote me on that. I don't remember the exact name of the business he was working with. That's just the first name that's popping in my head, and I'm probably completely wrong, to be honest. But he's been working with this company recently, and they had an interest of doing a WWE, I'm not a WWE, excuse me, a John Cena reality TV show without WWE's help in it. And Vince McMahon kind of doesn't want to let the general feeling for wrestlers to think that they can get their own reality TV show without the WWE's help. So he's kind of saying no to it right now, and Cena's kind of, he's a workhorse, so his people are saying basically if Vince McMahon doesn't allow him to do this, then he's just going to walk when his contract's up if Vince is going to try to stand in front of opportunities like that. And, I got to agree with John Cena. That's a little screwed up if you ask me. I mean, Cena's a little bit different than someone like, say, Randy Orton or Daniel Bryan. He's a huge name. He's like a Hulk Hogan Rock name. A reality show with him, it makes sense for him to not have WWE's help. He doesn't need it. Whereas someone like Orton or Bryan may need WWE's help. It's different, and I feel like McMahon's being a little selfish, but then again, when has Vince McMahon not been selfish? I guess I don't really know the guy, so I can't say that. Here's a little interesting thing that I also found. Anyone who remember Crimson, Tommy Mercer, ring a bell? He worked for TNA for a little bit. He was one of the uprising talents, if you ask me. I thought he was going to be a big star for sure, and then somehow flopped. It seems like a repeating theme in TNA. Either way, he had a WWE tryout, and it was rumored that he was going to be getting a WWE contract after WrestleMania season's over, but it looks like he's going to be going to TNA, and in fact, I'm almost positive he works for TNA now. He worked some house shows for them, and I believe I heard an announcement that he announced at a one-night-only pay-per-view that he is working with them now, so I don't understand what his reasoning is. If WWE was interested, why would he back out on that for TNA? I mean, maybe it's the traveling issue, or maybe WWE wasn't interested at all, and we didn't get it all. If any of you remember last week, I covered the hacking of the Twitter account for Seth Rollins with the leaked nudes and all that. Well, it seems another superstar was the victim of hacking. Cesaro had a little bit of hack. Luckily, no nudes were released of him or any divas on his. Just a very poor, copy of Cesaro. Someone who took control of Cesaro's account and tweeted out some things like, for instance, he said, right here, you know what, I'm sick of Vince McMahon and his bullshit. I don't even get a chance to get the tag team titles with Tyson Kidd now, which if you watched Fastlane, no reason for a spoiler report, that's obviously not true. And he also tweeted saying something like, I hope the old man gets cancer. I would have been one of the best for sure in WWE, but that old washed up has no idea. He said some other things as well. I knew from the get-go it wasn't Cesaro just from the wording and the how it just sounded. Cesaro comes across a lot more educated, and honestly, I don't want to offend anybody, but not as ghetto as the person that is talking for him in here. So for this week on Monday Night Raw, I just had a few things I wanted to comment on. Rusev brings out the best in John Cena. I have yet to see the Fastlane match, so I don't know anything about that, but Rusev brings out the best in Cena. That segment on Monday Night Raw was great. Dean Ambrose having that little Bad News Barrett copycat segment in the news was really funny, and I enjoyed it. And he also had probably the best match on Monday Night Raw against Luke Harper. I argue to say that was better than Ziggler and Seth Rollins, just because we had that little interference. This is kind of small, nothing really to comment on, but I love Goldust's trench coat. I think it's awesome. And we did finally get the heel turn. For Stardust, he finally turned on Goldust, but it didn't really get the reaction I think they wanted. It was kind of rushed, but he doesn't really get. Let's just say Cody Rhodes, the man behind the Stardust character, he's brilliant. He can make anything work, and he's just not getting the credit that he deserves for this angle, and it's a shame that WWE rushed it. Daniel Bryan playing mind games with Roman Reigns was fun. Roman tried to do it later on in the night with like autographs, and it just came across as forced, where Bryan's was easy. Paige is practically amazing. She came out wearing a Rosebud costume. I think we all know it. It was awesome. And she also defeated Summer Rae. The match wasn't that great, but seeing Paige as aggressive as she was in that ring was fantastic. And what she said to the Bellas, where she was saying something like, I don't need to look good to be good, or something like that. I don't know. It reminded me a lot of when AJ Lee was saying something, but I like Paige a lot more than I did like AJ. Of course, the Dolph Ziggler Seth Rollins segment. I noticed Dolph Ziggler kind of threw in a subtle joke about Rollins leaks. He said something like about someone must have had a bad Valentine's Day, and then proceeded to mock him with the authority. But I think we all know where he was doing there. And then of course the match between Rollins and Ziggler was great before we had the DQ. And I'd just like to point out, Ryback is over. I'm just saying, Ryback is over. Seems like the primetime players have returned as well. Darren Young teamed up with some no-name guy and got his ass beat by the Ascension before Titus O'Neil came out and rescued him. And I did watch a little bit of main event, and it seems like as the Rosebuds were beating up on O'Neil, Young came out and rescued him. So it seems like indeed the primetime players has returned. Mizdow and Miz are having an excellent build towards their eventual match at WrestleMania, I assume. And Bad News Barrett and Ambrose have also been doing some great stuff. The segment where Ambrose had Barrett's arms tied up and had him signed, that was hilarious, and it worked well for Dean Ambrose's characters. Bray Wyatt's promos have been at the top. He's just great. Nothing else to say there. Sheamus is going to be returning. Kid and Natalya and Jimmy and Naomi had a match, and I just like to point this one thing out. Tyson Kidd and Natalya play their roles perfectly. I'm sure they're a very happy couple, but if you watched on TV, I don't watch Total Divas, but I remember a little bit from when I did watch some of the episodes, but the roles they play on TV, you would not think that they are a happy couple. And of course, the end brawl between Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan was a good way to end the show. For Ring of Honor, we had Moose having a great match against Michael Elgin, which eventually it was just a draw. There was no ending. It kind of ended with a brawl. Jay Briscoe was out and he watched everyone's matches. Tommaso Ciampa and Hansen really didn't have great matches. It was just Elgin and Moose's match that was to point out. But the brawl, ended with I think it started with Elgin slapping Briscoe or something, and then leading him in the ring where Moose speared Briscoe, and then Ciampa and Hansen came out and they started brawling with Elgin and Briscoe. And then Mark Briscoe comes out to save his brother, and he joins the brawl. And it just ended with basically Mark Briscoe getting speared by Moose. So I assume at the 13th anniversary show, we're going to be seeing Moose take on Mark Briscoe. And we also got to see the Bullet Club in action. AJ Styles teamed up with the Young Bucks to defeat ACH, Cedric Alexander, and Matt Sydal. And it was kind of interesting in that match because me and Johnny, we watch it together. And what was interesting about it was me and him were like, Matt Sydal, Cedric Alexander, ACH, are they really compare to the Young Bucks and AJ Styles? After that match, I would say yes, fantastic match. One thing that I thought was really interesting that I read this week, and I'm not sure if any of you heard of, Spike TV, I pointed out that they were kind of interested in maybe getting a New Japan Pro Wrestling deal. It seems that they're also interested possibly in Ring of Honor, and that would be cool. I'd like to see Ring of Honor get a higher platform. Now I know where I got Sinclair Promotions from. It wasn't what I said it was earlier. That's who has Ring of Honor as their TV program, and they kind of don't really want it. And I also heard Ring of Honor is having money problems as well. It seems like a lot of their talent have been getting late paychecks, as well as they're going to have problems with their next show with New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I'm sure we all heard about this. If you haven't, I'm surprised. Samoa Joe, a man who a lot of people call TNA original, even though he wasn't with TNA since the beginning. But I would argue that he still is an icon, a big name in TNA, and he is one of the top draws in that company. That wasn't from, WWE or WCW or ECW or anything else. He made his name in TNA. I mean, you can argue ROH, but whatever. We're getting off. Samoa Joe is no longer part of the TNA. Him and TNA have parted ways mutually. And it's kind of sad to see Samoa Joe go away, but to be honest, it's not like he was doing much. Some people are saying he might be going to WWE, and I never say never. I don't see it happening, but if it happens, cool. I'd love to see him in WWE. I honestly say he goes to Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling. With Ring of Honor's money problems I'm hearing about, though, maybe not. Who knows? But I see New Japan definitely. So for Lucha Underground this week, we had the Mil Muertes and Fenix rivalry progress. That was pretty interesting. We also got to see the Texano El Patron feud progress. And Chavo Guerrero apparently quit. It's interesting. I'm not sure if that's a real thing or not, but if he does, that sucks. Chavo is pretty cool. And Big Rick, a.k.a. Ezekiel Jackson, returned. Lucha didn't really have many great matches this week. It was just a lot of progression on their stories. As for NXT, we got to see Rhino return. I mean, that was already known, and we found out that the Brian Kendrick will be on NXT this coming week. Rhino looked great, Nerds and Geek. He looked in great shape. His match was a quick squash match, but he looked great out there, and I'm excited to see what happens with this. Vaudevillains lost to Enzo Amore and Big Cass, and it seems like Enzo and Big Cass are the next in line for the tag titles, and we got a little segment between Blake and Murphy, who are trying to convince Carmella. Sorry about that. Carmella to come over to their side, so it'll be interesting to see that. Enzo and Big Cass are well deserving of this title match, and I'm interested to see how Murphy and Blake can pull off a heel roll. Solomon Crowe finally debuted by taking out CJ Parker. Parker's actually pretty good in his role, and I'm interested to see what Crowe does as well. He's going to have a hard time getting over, but if WWE lets him do what he did on the independent scene, he should have no problem. And Blue Pants was in action, and her theme. That's all I want to talk about, and that's all I'm going to say. And then the main event was Kevin Owens taking on Adrian Neville. Wow, what a match. Kevin Owens blew me away. He not only took on Adrian Neville, he beat him. I didn't mention that. I'm sure we all heard about this one. Dr. Aman, I think I pronounced his name right. He's the doctor in WWE and the man that CM Punk accused of the big, I don't know, lump on his back in that Colt Cabana podcast. Well, Dr. Aman is suing CM Punk and Colt Cabana, and WWE's actually backing them, and I'm interested to see where this one's going. WWE posted a video with numerous shots of Punk's ass, saying, oh, look, there's clearly none there, and he never came to us. But there's also a photo surfaced online as well, where there is a picture in a match against Ryback that it looks like there might have been something there, so I'm interested to see where that one goes, even though I could care less about CM Punk. As for Impact Wrestling this week, EC3 was about to get his hair cut, but he was able to evade it. Unfortunately, Tyrus did not. So Tyrus, or the man known as Brodus Clay, now is bald. The Revolution took on Matt Hardy and the Wolves, and the match really wasn't anything really special, but the thing that interested me was at the very end, Manic got taken out by Abyss and the Revolution, and I'm wondering, is Manic officially out of the Revolution, or is that just like punishment for him losing the match? Mickie James is officially back in TNA, and she had a great segment with Braum later on in the evening that almost looked like Braum was about to hurt her, but it didn't go through. Grado and Al Snow had a match. Al Snow looked great, Nerds and Geeks. As I said with Rhino just a few moments ago, Al Snow was in great shape. Grado's really over from what I hear. I'm not buying into him, but I'm interested to see what happens. But after the match, the Beatdown Clan came out and started beating down on Grado and Snow after Al Snow shook his hand and all that. And Drew Galloway, otherwise known as Drew McIntyre, made his first appearance in TNA, and he came in with a lead pipe, and it was awesome. McIntyre's here, but he swung up with a lead pipe at one point, and it caught low key, and he was really busted open. He had a gash behind his ear, Nerds and Geeks. It was ridiculous. Taryn Terrell took on Angelina Love, and it was an alright match, but Awesome Kong came out after the match, and she made her intentions clear that she wants the Knockouts Championship, as does Gail Kim when she backed off Awesome Kong. And the last thing I want to talk about with these Knockouts, Taryn Terrell is gorgeous. My God, is that woman sexy. And at the end of the night, we had the 20-man Battle Royale with MVP winning it. So we have, at the upcoming pay-per-view, which I don't know what it's called, the TNA pay-per-view coming up, I think it's Rivals. Don't quote me. But MVP will be taking on Bobby Lashley with the TNA title on the line. So I'm interested to see. I'm enjoying TNA. I'm not really into it, but it's okay. I'm giving it a chance. EC3 is honestly keeping me around along with Rockstar Spud. The Beatdown Clan's not my favorite, but I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about what's going on in wrestling. And keep an eye out for that Fastlane video, because as I said, as soon as I'm done recording it, hopefully I'm going to try to talk Johnny into it as well, and we're both going to be able to maybe record it together. If not, it'll just be me, but I want to hear his opinions, and I'm going to give you guys my opinions on what happened as well. As always, nerds and geeks, that's going to do it for this Sunday's vlog. I don't really have much to talk about the YouTube series going on. I mean, everything's going great. Before I go, though, I would like to thank one of you nerds and geeks, or you subscribers. I forgot your name. My apologies. I know you watched the Total Extreme Wrestling series. You sent me a personal inbox message telling me about the house show bookings in Total Extreme Wrestling. I'm gonna also mention you in the next time I record. And thank you so much. I had no idea about that, and it really helps. So thanks. Either way, nerds and geeks, that's gonna be the end. I don't want to keep you guys here much longer. So I'll see you guys later for that Fast Line video. Fast Lane, not line. And I'll see you next week for the next Sunday vlog, so where we can talk about more about wrestling and all the goody judies coming on. See you next week.